found the Kirin. Armed with the blessing of the Kirin, you return back to the Tower of Telethos. And when you return, you enter the great gates with Modaman. And as you follow him, there to greet you are the whole rest of the members of GodCon. And almost in a triumphal parade, you all come down the streets to the tower itself, with the people outside, and they're all looking at you with some sort of awe in their eyes, and a certain level of respect. Some members of the crowd, some of which you know, some of which you have not met, almost look at you with a little bit of surprise, even. But the great doors open and you enter, and there, standing in the middle of the chamber, is Jacob Varel and a couple of the other members of the council, including Dragoth, Iad the Seer, and Pes McGriff, as well as the old lady and the Kinku woman. And you enter and you meet Jacob Varel face to face, and he extends his hand to you and he says, "Congratulations, you've won the hunt."
Thank you. Good to be back.
Well, it is quite the blessing to have that bestowed upon you, and just to say so myself, I'm a little shocked that it was the followers of Mask that were granted this blessing. But with that being said, the fact that the Kirin was able to reveal itself to any of us at all is a sure sign that what we are doing is ordained by the gods. Therefore, we must get to work. The fun is over, and we must begin to make preparations for our campaign. For the sake of Lysisium, and for the sake, perhaps, the world. So, if you would please follow me. So, he takes the rest of you off to a side chamber, very large chamber filled with books and books and books. Large library. Multiple illithids are kind of floating in the air, filling this great library with more and more knowledge. And in the center there is a massive table with this giant map laid out in the center. Jacob Varel takes you around the table, and you see that it is many, many cities and many, many pawns to be played. And he says to you, "Here's a map of Lysisium. I believe it is time for us to begin making preparations and to discuss what we have at hand. I believe you've all won the right to be at this table, regardless of if you're on the council or not."
Yes, I think preparations are a good idea.
Now, are these holds of Azamantus has his men?
Some of them, yes. These are strongholds as well as some of our own allies that we have at our disposal. We have several different sects of Nellians that have small militias, or have at least accumulated some members that have some level of power. Some are private militaries serving different priests and priestesses. Some are just people that are interested in helping. So, Mr. McGrath, would you please discuss what we have at our disposal? And so he clonks up in his big full metal armor, and echoing in his large helmet, he says, "Why, yes. So currently we have 500 troops at our disposal. That is very meager compared to what Azamantus has currently amassed, which is somewhere close to 2,000 fighting force. And perhaps growing daily in number. But I believe that the quality of our fighters is very solid. Could be better, and of course we will probably try to bolster it. But I think we also need to discuss the different resources we have at hand. So, as it stands, we do not have many resources. In terms of food, we have no idea where the food will come from. In terms of supplies, we also have no idea where the supplies will come from. Uh, our greatest ally right now is Herath Abbey, the direct challenger to Azimentus's forces, and as it stands, Herath Abbey is a very long way from where we are currently, so any supply lines run right through Azimentus's current territory. Uh, it is unlikely that we will be able to.
My gosh. So
And a heart attack.
Sorry. That's Holland.
that was
As it stands,
I'm gonna get my fries out of the oven real
Okay.
quick.
I might have to.
So as it stands, we need to secure different supply lines and resources and whatnot. And also as it stands, Azimentus's forces have control all the way south to Palladian. Palladian, unfortunately, is smack in the middle of Lysisium, so that kind of proves some issues for us. The only easy access to resources we have is here on the eastern side of the map. Map is in Discord, by the way. If you're interested in looking at said map.
See it.
Indeed. So, as you can see, we are headed for Sabib, south of Lake Jezret. That is the place that we have decided on to be our fortress. It has pretty good access to the ocean, and it is protected at least by one side by Lake Jezret on a peninsula. So, and also to its southern border, it is protected by mountains, making it an ideal space to establish our control. So there are a couple of key locations around here that may prove to be useful. There is a mining operation south of Sabib in the mountains. That perhaps we could make a deal with them or something of that nature, perhaps a financial situation. But once again, we also need to secure food, armor, housing, many, many things. So, friends, this is where I am introducing a new mechanic for you all. At this point, we are looking at a larger scale here, where you guys are going to be able to move troops, control troops, expend resources, and
This reminds me of a video game. It was like medieval, and you had like you could be the king of Spain and you could like conquer all of Europe, but you had a set timeline. And then in the background, you're like marrying off children and moving troops.
I wonder what game that is.
What is it?
Medieval
Sword.
Total War. Medieval Total War. Look it up. It's crazy.
What'd
I
you think
lost
it
every
was,
time.
Sawyer?
Fire Emblem.
Oh, it's not. But what it is Dragon Age Inquisition. So think that. So I'm going to give you guys a set number of kind of influence points. Currently, you guys are sitting at about 5 influence. There will be kind of checkpoints to be able for you to expand to other areas, to do certain things based on how much influence you have. To gain more influence, you can go on certain quests to kind of bolster everything. So, with that being said, the first goal that you guys really have is to go to Sabib and in some way either take control of the city or convince the people that you need the city.
Take it by force.
That is up to you. This is you guys' game. But no contact has been made with Sabib at this point, nor do they have a representative at your table. You guys just thought, dang, this would be a really great city to set up shop. And with its involvement in the center of the continent, I mean, hypothetically, there is a certain level of stakes that they have in the game here, but these are your current kind of objectives, as it were.
How do we not have like representatives from like the remaining cities?
Because this is a religious establishment.
I know, but the threat of this guy overtaking the land is pretty. Is it not substantial enough to like warrant
It's definitely substantial enough, but we kind of
for
discussed
people to
in the
be
last
invited?
we kind of discussed in the last session that there was no real unifying council between all of the cities. Lysisium City in particular is very independent and doesn't really want any association with anyone else. But that doesn't mean that the other cities aren't. There just hasn't been any type of collective that you guys know about that have tried to solve this. The closest thing that you guys know about at this time is the champions meeting up. Just because that is a unifying factor is GodCon and religion.
That.
Okay.
But like I said, none that you guys know about currently.
I ask the room, is there any word on the, I guess, what has happened in Semred? Is the city destroyed, or? Oh, I mean, they could be. If their whole civil war is over now, it could be a good place, being on the sea.
And so Jacob speaks up and says, "We received report that the city was supposedly drowned in blood. I find that to be very strange, and I mean, they say that it came from the sky out of that rift, but no one's quite sure. I haven't heard anything about any collective survivors. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but that was just the rumor that spread up the coastline. I'm sure there are at least some degree of refugees that managed to escape. We could certainly send messengers."
Well, I mean, I guess Sabib for now, and then that could potentially be a good location to grab.
Indeed, I agree.
We can
Well,
resolve
here.
the whole portal issue.
Portal. What? Are we jumping through them?
I hope not.
Not this one.
Dragoth speaks up and says, "The only problem with Samred is that there is a known portal, as you call it.
Thank you.
The issue with that being that we know Azamintus has been using them to his advantage."
Ugh.
Maybe we use them to our advantage.
Mm.
That is
Yeah.
quite an idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I was about to say Samurad was like the capital of trade and commerce. Like, what happened to all those connections? That could be a potential way we get supplies.
Through Samred.
Do I? Go ahead.
No, you go.
Do I know how FAL would feel about what's going on with the Pale Rider?
So they tend to keep to their own level of control over on their main continent.
Okay.
Now the southern lords of FAL are a lot more willing. They're the ones that mainly do trade with the other places in the world. The capital of FAL and kind of the central lands of it, they're kind of a lot more focused inwardly. But the southern lords, like Pest McGriff was talking about, are a lot more sympathetic to.
Would they be like, yeah, we'll lend our aid, guys, because we like you guys? Or is it like, we'll lend our aid if you give us some of this land we're helping you retake or something.
I mean, how about you talk to people that might know that?
Well, I just thought I may know from my background how they lean in that way.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wants something. They're not just gonna lend aid with nothing in return, you know?
Well, unless they have some sort of alliance formed with them.
There's no alliance between Lysisium and Ethael.
Okay.
Astradi maybe, but not Ethael, or not Lysisium.
FAL with Astradi, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I mean, like, due to the fact that Lysisium has no central, like, government and economy, like, maybe there are individuals in certain cities that might have alliances, but the country as a whole, not really.
Gotcha.
And the geopolitical landscape is fairly boring.
Oh,
Oh!
damn!
These people don't know how to have a global economy.
Not this part of the world.
Or have any, like, I don't know, regard of like, oh shoot, somebody asking this 10,000 person army, not 10,000, 2,000,
2000.
2,000, this small uprising with a god complex walking through portals, portal hopping.
But the thing is like, this part of the world is definitely the easiest to conquer. You see what I'm saying? Due to the fact that it doesn't have any type of, like, central establishment, it's extremely easy for him to start here. You know what I mean? It's just
Okay.
the area of it's kind of a void.
It do be.
Yeah,
How it be-
and this is what always happens in vacuums. If there's no central government, things get stirred up.
Well, I mean, there's good and bad to everything.
Yeah.
This is what I say we do. Let's
States'
send
rights.
out. That's right.
Well, no,
Let's.
go on, go on.
We
We'll talk about this
should
later.
We should send a message to Sabib, you know, inquiring their place upon this. Send them, you know, the whole spiel of what's his Azimentus is up to, the threat that it could be to them, and then see if they would allow us to use their city as a fortress. And then if they don't, we go from there.
Now, what about Ilajan? Do we not have any representatives here from Ilajan? I mean,
Yeah.
I think a coastal city would probably be a stronger place, having access to the ocean.
Marshall speaks up and says, the problem with Illusion is that they, similarly to Lysisium, have their own level of pride at stake. And I mean, yes, there was the council. There was the council. And you guys remember the guy that was in the wheelchair with the dragons and stuff? There was the Council of Illusion, but at the end of the day, it is just a massive university town. Yes, there are different religious organizations there, and I would say that some of those are represented here. But think about it. A great portion of that population, they're just kids. And like, like was mentioned earlier, many of the more talented magic users fled when they heard war.
Would it be easier to fortify it? And are they already on our side? Thus, kind of skipping the fact of having to negotiate with Sabib, who we don't have any knowledge where they stand in all this.
Who even lives in Sabib? Like, what is their populace like?
Sabib, it was built on it's an old fortress, a massive fortress city. It was an ancient, not necessarily empire, but a mighty force on Lake Jezreel. since it has kind of fallen into disrepair, but the fortress around the city itself still stands. The entire city is surrounded by a massive wall, and there's a giant fortress in the center, and it's slightly raised, so that is also very helpful. And the encapsulation of the mountains around it also lend itself towards good defenses. I mean, the people there, they're not exactly known to be quite the ferocious fighting force that they once were. But they used to control the whole mouth of that river. There is money that runs through that city.
Well, it sounds like we need to be sending some messages at the very least to see if they would aid us with supplies and
Yes.
monetary gain.
Yes. Somebody who has a good way with diplomacy and maybe knows a little bit more about them, so can speak to their own. They'll want something from us, I'm sure. A lot of people seem to be a bit reluctant to admit the threat that's beginning to consume our region of the world. So,
And my fear is it is on a lake, but it is still landlocked.
Well, there are mountains surrounding it, like, right, Emma?
Yeah. And I mean, in reality, there's probably a river that kind of runs from Lake Jesuit out to the sea.
All land is landlocked.
I mean, it's worth getting some more information, I say. I mean, we don't need to have all forces necessarily in one place. Can always have two locations.
The Kinku woman speaks up, and she says, yes, Lord Rurgel, is the Lord of Sabib. He is a rather mighty man. He used to be a captain, but he finally settled down because his family ran deep through Sabib. He was elected. Now, Sabib is a rather strange city. They elect a new member of a new mayor, as it were, every month. Very strange. So it might be interesting trying to convince one mayor from another, but it could be possible.
How
How d-
exactly are the mayors elected?
By the people. They are elected by the people.
How is anything organized if the mayors are changed every month?
I know not, but they do it in order to preserve justice and truth
I guess impartiality. That's weird. Okay.
and eliminate corruption, they say.
Oh. That's interesting.
Guys, this was a real thing that Dubrovnik did, the city in Croatia that Sabib is modeled after. This was a real thing that they did.
Hmm.
Did they?
Well, I mean, I think we definitely need to explore our options there, but it just comes down to if it needs to be us or others. Because Samred, like we were saying, Maynard was just saying, does have the sea. And if Asamantis is utilizing this portal, who's to say that he wouldn't notice us if we were, in the last place he would expect? Right under his nose.
I I'm very hesitant to do anything with Samarid other than potentially trading routes if those representatives are still in that vicinity, just because that portal is such an easy access for him to just surprise us at any given point, even if it's the last thing he would think. Because the Sunder is like right above the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the blood came from.
Mm.
Okay.
I definitely think that there should be some that investigate, but I don't know who. necessarily, but I do think that that's something that should be looked into carefully. See what the situation there is. Um, but looking at our options and at this map, it seems to me like Sabib might be our best option, or I should say our most obvious option to look into first. But seeing as they have this very bizarre election system that they utilize, I don't know. Maybe their populace is easily swayed to causes. You never know.
I do believe they have an election coming up.
Even better. Interesting.
Has anyone sent word to them yet?
We have a messenger en route currently that was sent yesterday. It mentioned that it was a possible location.
When should they return this messenger?
We should expect them in a few days.
Okay. And Emma, how long of a journey is it? Like days wise?
Probably let's see here. Probably a 3-day journey.
We don't have magical means to expedite.
Travel. Fast travel.
By foot.
Where's the
a 3-day
Pegasus?
journey.
I demand some Pegasi. Or the Kieran to lightning just flash. Comment. I kind of look at endurance like connection to Kieran.
I mean, there's always who knows?
He did give us that incredible blessing though, so.
Good. Yes, I don't think I'd want to ask any more of him or want to leave him to his own devices. He doesn't need to be bothered by any of this. He can choose to act of his own accord. And I'm sure if Azamantis gets near here, he will be met with the celestial power of the Kieran.
This is out of character because I can't remember names great with my 2 remaining brain cells. What are the tentacle people called? The mind flayers?
Oh, no, the Illithids.
The Illithids.
Yeah.
Now, what about the Illith? Like, what can the Illithids aid us in as far as like supplies, men, stuff like that?
Here we go.
Because I feel like they're a really good ally in this.
So, Jacob Burrell speaks up and says, the Illithids could perhaps supply a certain level of information for sure. Some of them are quite talented at gaining intelligence through one way or another. But unfortunately they do live under this mountain, and as you've noticed, perhaps they are kind of intermingled with the dwarves here. They do have some mining operations here, not quite incredibly large, but I'm sure they could perhaps get us started off with some supplies.
Okay.
Yes.
Or do they have connections to where they get their supplies? Because
Well, they tend to stick with the underground. This is kind of an underground location, and some things are harvested from the caves and even deeper into the Underdark.
Okay.
Are there any locations in the Underdark that you know of that could be good, I don't know, hidden bases, so to speak?
The Underdark is a very dangerous place, but if we are willing to put some forces into it, I'm sure we could perhaps find some resources or maybe locations. The problem with the Underdark is that it is not very well scouted, due to the fact there are so many dangers below.
I'm sure it's very dark.
Yes.
Very far.
There are gnomes, dark gnomes, and dark elves, and any number of fiendish creatures.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's an option, and Azimentus seems like he can kind of be everywhere if he wants to be. So maybe the Underdark is one of the places he's not as interested to look in. But I could be wrong.
Maybe that is true. I have not quite considered turning our sights to the Underdark.
It's just a thought, but
There are cities below. They're not very well contacted, but they do exist.
it would be interesting to see if we can make connections with someone or people within those cities and see if we could work something out. I mean, Azimentus is a bit of a threat to everyone currently, even if he, has vendettas against certain species in general. I don't doubt that he would extend his reach to others eventually.
So, it sounds like you would like to send some messengers to scout the Underdark to see if we could find any connections. Is that correct? I'm trying to assemble a list of tasks that we would like to have completed by the end of this meeting. So messengers
Yes.
below?
Yes. Oh, preferably drow or people that are safer down there and aren't going to be targeted as quickly. But yes, I think that would be a good idea. Are we in agreement on that?
I think that's a great idea.
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it also sounds like, what's up, Ben? Ben, we are currently at the war table, looking at plans. So currently you guys are sitting at 5 influence points. That's kind of my new metric for deciding how much power you guys have in your army that you're amassing. By gaining more resources and intel and things like that, you increase your influence, and by increasing your influence, you will unlock other perks to having a larger area. Whether that, well, you know what? I'll keep that part a secret. You'll find out what they are as you go along. Also, I think maybe you guys should have a certain like budget because some things may require you to put forth funds. So let's say currently you guys have 10,000 gold in your treasury.
Including what we have, or we have another 10,000?
There's 10,000 gold in the champion
In
treasury.
the party fund.
In the fund for
Pizza
this
party
campaign
fund.
presently. Now,
Charles cheese.
of course, you
entertainment.
probably will need more gold eventually, but you have 10,000 to perhaps sway certain cities or put forth to purchasing things, stuff like that. Ben, we can't hear you. Not at
Nope.
all. Cannot hear you at all.
Ben.
Ben.
Ben. Ben.
Silas.
Silas.
Silas,
Ben.
no. Silas,
Mike.
no. Bruh.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, figure it out, bud.
Uh-oh.
Anyway,
Can't believe we have a mute Silas.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
Where's our diplomacy?
I know.
Not
Silver
me.
tongue.
Silver tongue.
Uh,
Oh gosh. Anyway, so that's where we're sitting right now.
I have a question.
Hit me.
Do we know the time frame of when we
Yes.
need to get everything done?
Well, you would hope as soon as possible. The other time thing that you guys have at your hands here, you guys are quickly approaching 3-month contract you have with Mask.
Yes.
Hey Ben, we hear you now.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Very faintly.
Wait,
Nope.
Ben, do you think that I can fit this whole Grogu in my mouth?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you right. Would you like to see a demonstration?
Oh, I thought you were eating a burrito earlier. I was like, dang, he's got one of those spinach tortillas.
Nah. It was just Grogu.
Grogu.
So cute.
It is. It's actually.
He's cute.
Anyway. So, we're,
Well, should we be the ones to go to Sabib?
I mean,
I feel like Silas can.
yeah.
Silas
And then
can what?
Alodia kind of stops mid
Sabib,
sentence.
Saboob.
So Silas, Sabib, you know that their situation, they're very well fortified, but also their government is they got a mayor, and the mayor changes every month, and they're about to have another election. We cannot hear you, Ben. Well, anyway, so let's start coming up. So currently, I have that you guys would like to send messengers to the Underdark, send messengers to Sabib.
We
So
need
the
to
question
send messengers to Ilijan.
to Ilijan,
Or do we know where they stand?
not quite.
Would be worth it.
Because they could give us. I know it's a bunch of youths, but they could help us in the firepower. Firepower. I'm not doing that. In that department. I mean, and at the very least, with the research going on, there's surely there's maybe a secret magic weapon that we don't know of that could aid in us, like similar to the God Slayer. Maybe not to that extent, but
Okay, I think I'm back.
Yay!
little shortcut. Oh, let's go, Ben.
There you are, Ben.
Where was the place, Emma?
Ben.
Question for you, because I again cannot remember names of places.
Mhm.
Where was that place that when we were at the dear God, it was at the oh dear God, that banquet that we went to, and we were talking to all the different people, and
That was near
intel.
Samrid.
Samrid, okay, yeah. It
That
was, we
was
were
near
at Samrid.
Samrid. Yeah.
We were getting intel on behalf of Tontigo, I believe.
Mhm.
And I talked to, I believe it was, were they orcs?
Mhm. Mhm.
That said they had, where were their lands located?
That would be Jolfindir. So that is an island across kind of the sea to the east. It's not too far. I mean, it's definitely a sail away, but that was always an option.
And Durance will kind of mention, she'd be like, wait, what was the island called again?
Jolfindir.
And Durance will kind of mention, when we were in Samred, I spoke to some orcs from Jolfindir that mentioned that they have dragons. So, and that they rode on said dragons. So if we need firepower, we know that they have some. Don't
Well,
know their alliances, but might be worth a shot.
absolutely.
I realize I've been exiled, but I could go back to my clan, and see what they have to say.
The Monkey Clan.
Yes, I mean, use everyone.
I mean, their lives are in danger too, I guess.
The monkey's fist. The monkey. That's from a SpongeBob episode. When
Got
the
it
Flying
in there.
Dutchman is doing the knots, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So currently you guys have 5 different places that you guys want to send messengers to. So now comes the part where you decide who is going where. Like, who are you going to send? What kind of people are you going to send to these different places? And are you going to give them money to do this? Like, what are you going to do?
I think we all need to split up and go to a different place.
Totally.
I was just gonna send some monkeys.
Send some flying monkeys.
Magic. That's the magic I'm talking about. Where them Pegasi.
So
You
you
know,
have
I know.
so you have
Flying
10,000
monkeys.
gold and 500 troops. That's just kind of generic foot soldiers. And then obviously you also have like members of the council and stuff.
Maynard,
Yes.
does your mass command make portals?
Oh, he's not my masked man. He's Silas's masked man, so you'd have to ask
Si-
Silas.
Silas?
Oh, you're talking about Silas.
No.
Oh,
Weird mask man. Where's your masked daddy? Can he make portals?
I don't think so.
Useless.
Elodia slowly nods to that statement.
I see.
could send Percy to be a messenger.
It's true.
We could.
Tweet a tweet.
Percy kind of puffs up his chest at being remembered and being a valuable asset to the team.
So Jolfendir would probably take a week to get to.
Emma, do we have any like idea like where we could find men? Like
Well, you can find
more
a man
foot
everywhere-
soldiers?
everywhere.
Easier.
So I mean that's kind of up to you guys. I mean there are cities everywhere.
Well, I'm saying
and,
like from
you
the
guys-
council, have they like offered
Well, they have 500 troops for you
that
to
it?
use. Yes, that's it. I mean versus Azimentus's current 2,000. That's all we've got so far. So I mean like these are like I said these are just kind of like the private armies of some of these priests, some of these religious members. Some of them are villages that have decided to help. Like these are just kind of like the people that they've scrapped together so far.
Is it ongoing?
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Like-
It's ongoing,
okay.
but I mean like it's ongoing, but also you guys are going to have to make decisions to try to gain more. Like, do you want to put some resources to you guys going and recruiting villages? Do you guys want to try to pay some villages to come work for you? Maybe find some mercenary bands. Like, what do you guys want to do? This is where you guys got to get creative.
Ooh, what about like well, everything's been destroyed in Samred, but there's that one like that mercenary ship that had the giant. It brought that giant monster thing, and it was
That
howling out
was-
the moon.
Ethael folks.
She was Athalion, but
We can't recruit them. Are they gone?
They were like Athelian military.
Oh.
they were
What
not.
about that? What about that beast in Samred? Is it
They were
gone?
not. They were not Athalion military. They just were Athalion.
Oh, okay.
They were traitors.
What if we get that druid drug a bunch of druids and then have an army?
And
That would be that would be ethically
Hey,
questionable.
now he's spitting.
endurance is just
It's like a
I'm just kidding. That would be terrible.
would be.
Well, we know there's a Kieran right at our footsteps, but aside from the Kieran, do we know if there are any other powerful creatures around here, rumor or not?
Let's see here. Who's going to speak
That-
up on this topic? I think
Battle of the Beast would be pretty epic.
so.
Let them fight.
Or the elephants.
The Kinku woman speaks up and she says, I mean, sure, there are many creatures, some intelligent, some are not. You mentioned dragons earlier. Some dragons are intelligent and some are good aligned. So, there are some that live around that could be helpful. But I'm sure it'd be hard to contact a dragon without being eaten first. And they do enjoy the shiny things. Unfortunately, the good aligned ones are very rare, so there are more neutrally aligned ones that are around, of typically the chromatic variety. But then again, there are also other creatures like, I don't know, there's a clan of Medusas out there that live in the hills, and I'm sure there are many hag covens around, but I think those are nasty
Hag.
creatures. I mean, there are plenty of creatures to be spoken with. I mean, there are even Pegasi out there that could be tamed, perhaps. I don't know. We just have to decide to find them.
Yeah, we're gonna have a full Narnia army.
Heck yeah.
So sick.
Get me to a graveyard, +5.
Well, it sounds
Yeah,
like
what about okay, Mr. Necromancy? What?
How many
Necromancy?
necromants?
Well, I am firmly against necromancy.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
Say
It was
that.
a joke.
Who
Zenobia
would
is
do
too.
that?
Oh, that is firmly against the laws of nature, she says.
I
true.
totally, completely agree.
Why would nature let us do it then?
It was not nature that let us resurrect the dead. Oh, oh. You see her little kinku feathers get kind of ruffled.
all right. It's just a suggestion. I mean, it's better than death for all of us. So
Jacob
Oh.
Varel, on the other hand, says, you know, Madam Kretok, any and all help could be appreciated. And you hear just kind of like this low rumble in the room of like, ew, necromancy. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
Well, would anybody in this council recommend a mercenary group or a village or two? Because again, I mean, I think we can all attest to this. All our people groups are kind of independent, apparently. If this is like one of the few times we actually hold council. So does anybody suggest where we should start looking?
Kind of an individual that you've never met before, just kind of a page boy to one of the members of the council, says, I am actually a native to Lysisium, so I feel like I may be able to speak to this accordingly. So in this region, there is a mercenary group. They're not quite firepower per se, but they are certainly cunning, and are good at developing intelligence, and also good at executing people quietly, if you know what I mean. They may prove to be useful. They're out of a small village to the west, not far from here. His name, what's his name? What's the name? Crazen Malbrook and the Weeping Roses.
Crazen the Hunter. Sorry. It's from Spider-Man.
And there's also a traveling band of healers that go from city to city, you know, healing, as it were. The Maidens of Marad.
The
Maidens of Marat?
Maidens? Are these shield
maidens.
maidens?
They're healers, but they're kind of badasses too, so don't mess with them.
Okay, okay.
Peaky Blinders.
So would these, my good lad, be expensive in recruiting, or are they easily swayed to
Well,
I
I don't
lower
know
their
about.
prices?
I haven't ever hired their services. They're a little bit morally grey, as you might say. So they might be worth looking into or contacting, but I in particular have just heard rumors of their appearances and you know, their involvement in political schemes and things like that.
Sir, I think your act getting thicker.
I'm getting more confident.
Sounds like he's getting riled up.
Street Tough really knows everything.
So, yeah. Also, I mean, we've thought about people. Is there any resources as far as more powerful weaponry for us to fight, and any way to find maybe some magical items to help us?
Well, that's why I mentioned talking to Ilajon, because I
Well,
feel
is
like
there
they
any
would be a
knowledge of powerful artifacts we could
Um,
use? Does anyone know?
yes.
Let's see. So Jacob Rell speaks up and says, I do believe that speaking to Illajon about that topic would be rather prudent. They do have access to magical means as well as research. I believe that we could bolster our weapons by doing such a thing, and perhaps find larger weapons. I also believe that their knowledge of the arcane may help us to develop siege weapons.
What?
I also believe that I mean there's a mining company near Sabib. That is one of the reasons why it is a good place. It is near the mountains. Jurian Jorg has a mining company up there. Uh, it you know iron and bronze and not bronze. I don't know. That's like copper or something. I don't know. I don't know what my alloys versus
Are
my
we in the
ores are.
Bronze
We can use
Age or
I don't
bronze
freaking
to-
know.
Steel Age?
I don't
Right.
freaking know. Anyway,
Magic.
Are
Is
we
it
cavemen?
bronze and iron that makes steel?
guys, I don't know. I don't know alloy versus an ore, so
should
don't ask me
probably
any more
know this.
questions.
Gentry, I
Anyway.
feel like you would know.
Yeah,
But I-
probably should, but I
They
don't.
got metal, y'all. They have
They got coin,
They
got
guys.
metal.
Metal.
All.
The other thing we have to consider is that we must work quickly to make sure that Azamantus's people do not expand and take over some of the same ideas that we are having. So, you know,
What do we know of any weaknesses that have been observed with Azamantus and his horde?
I mean, you guys haven't heard any type of intelligence on these people, so I mean, it might also be a good idea to go scout them and see where their borders are, see where they're at, what are they doing?
All right. I want the assassin groups in on our team. Maybe.
Let's send scouts.
Send scouts. Send Percy. Oh, Percy, no. Hate
Is
losing him.
Percy going
I
to
think that's
scout?
a great idea, Elodia. I think that is a fantastic idea.
The assassin clan?
Well, I'm just saying that I have
Raven.
I have specific like outcomes based on like what you guys
Okay.
choose to utilize. I have like there are they will add.
Considering that, I think that should also be one of our moves is scouting. What exactly is this horde? What constitutes it? What are their weaknesses? Can we just arm a whole battalion of dripstick users and go to
I'll
could
lead
be a
battalion
thing,
of
but
drippers.
we don't know.
So
Dripstick Legion.
Let it rip.
let it
Let it drip.
Oh, man. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. I've got kind of a list here of I've got a list here of things you can possibly do, but here's the deal. There are certain costs associated with each kind of thing. Like, you can't just do all of them. You know what I mean? Like you got to kind of pick which ones you can do because they all are kind of take different amounts. And of course, you guys can also go do some of these yourself and not expend any resources.
All right, I'm gonna go back to my clan.
Okay.
Endurance is going to kind of speak up and say, I know Percy, can fly, and I also now can fly, but I feel like we would move a bit faster if we had a quicker means of travel. Maybe be able to cover more land and escape if we need to. That might be a good avenue to pursue. She did mention Pegasi, and Elodia mentioned that earlier, so something to get us around faster. Just a thought. It takes some of these places, if they take 2 or 3 days to get to on foot, then flight time would slice that in half. If that could be attained, of course.
Okay.
No,
So,
never mind.
what were you saying?
I don't want to say it anymore. I forgot.
Okay.
I didn't forget. I just thought it was a dumb idea. Oh, what I was gonna say is a dumb idea, not what you said. So yeah.
Should some of us go to Illajon? I kind of like talk aside to the party crew. I don't know what our group is called. The mass.
What are you guys
brigade.
calling? Yeah, go on.
I've already left.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
Oh my god.
I've told no one where I'm going. I've only hinted at it.
He's just marching off.
Man, I don't know how to react to that. Lodia kind of just blinks a couple times and is just like, 1 minute she saw Krogan and the next he's gone. She's like, wow, he is incredibly fast.
I'm sure he has a plan of some kind. Maybe.
I'm not so
Okay,
sure.
guys.
Well, I think we should stick together. Seeing how there's no telling where Asmundus may be these days along our journey.
Good point. We could all go to Ilijon and then send some messengers to Zabib. Because do we still have connections in Ilijon? Like
Sure.
with one of the colleges, at least.
I mean, any of
And then
the
there was that
connections
dour
that you made.
girl,
A Lune.
Alune. Oh, also, what was our dragonborn friend?
Maliotis!
Maliotis.
And we could recruit the guy from the Fantastic Four that's still there.
Right. And then there's
Tareen.
also this like
Yeah.
really smart orc.
Yeah.
He left.
Vizarth.
Vizarth
He
left
already
with the
left.
monocle. Oh, did he
Might
have a
be able
monocle?
to.
Yeah,
He might be able
glasses,
to.
I think.
I liked
maybe.
his character design.
Yeah, no, he's cool. We might be able to recruit Maliotis and Lune if they knew how terrible this threat was and how bad it's gotten. They might
Well,
decide.
at the very least, they could get us into where we need to talk to people.
Exactly. And provide
We can recruit Galt, maybe. That could
Galt!
endurance shed. Just,
be.
her eyes get just like.
Little Misty. The romance we never knew we wanted to see. The ship.
Mhm. So here's what I'm also going to tell you. Depending on how much funds and troops you kind of put towards each operation will kind of change the DC of if you're successful in that area that you choose to pursue.
Oh dear God.
We
You see what I'm
also
saying?
need to get those assassins. I feel like espionage will greatly help us because we have no idea what Azimentus consists of.
I feel like we've been to Ilijon. We know Lune and Maliotis. We know that they, are good people who would more than likely be willing to help us. I would say that is, exactly how much they're willing to help us and what they can provide is another matter, but I don't know. I mean, if we do want to stick together, I think all of us should certainly be tackling like things like the assassins together, whereas things with Lune Maliotis, perhaps we could split up there, but I don't know. It might be wiser for us all to stick together.
Well, we could also just send messengers to the mercenaries. Like we don't have to go there ourselves.
Very true.
Because honestly, it's just a matter of bartering and then setting a price. And then
Very
they come.
Very true. Well, yeah, so especially if it's for higher groups, then I think we don't need to be necessarily present for that. But if it's more along the lines of diplomacy and connections, I do think we need to be present for that. So, I mean, Ilijon sounds promising to me. Zabib also remains potentially promising with their very strange, bizarre election, but who knows?
Well, we have messengers en route currently there.
This is true. I would say we hold any actions towards there until they return and we get word of what they've seen. Yeah.
I don't know. Silas, has Mask said anything about any of this? Like,
I don't know.
oh.
I think the idea of assassination sounds fun.
That's what I was thinking too. I like those guys.
What was that?
Digging the assassins.
Okay. Okay.
We are for it.
Pro assassination.
Okay.
Pro assassins.
I don't know if there are any around here. I'm still a bit unfamiliar with this area of the land, but if there are any druidic circles, they tend to be more on the neutral side of things. But if the balance of nature is at risk, they might be swayed. But
I'd say
I
it
wouldn't hold our
is.
breath.
What'd you say, Ben?
I said I'd say it is.
Yes,
Balance of nature.
it is. So it might be worth it if there were a few larger circles, not to mention the horrific actions that have been taken against my people lately with the drugs turning their eyes gold, taking their minds from them. If they knew, which I'm sure some do and some don't, that might also get them to act.
Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna have you all kind of choose what you as individuals are gonna do, and as well as what your resources are gonna go to. So currently, Krogan has said that he is en route to Monkey Clan. So that is where Krogan is going. And we're gonna kind of do like almost like a time skip thing, for all of you to execute these kind of within the next period of time to kind of see your results. With that being
It
said,
is medieval Total War. This is exactly.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
So anyway, choose what specific actions you're gonna do, and we're gonna kind of see what the outcomes are.
Do we want to all go together, split up in pairs, or go individually somewhere?
Or send messengers.
Oh, we also have Mishra with us and Little, so they could come. Split up in threes.
I think splitting up in threes, if we're going to, that might be a good plan. Cover more area that way.
Should we leave the bartering? I'm sorry. I can't.
No, go ahead.
But should the bartering for the mercenaries, I feel like Silas maybe would do a pretty good job. I just realized where I'm weak, everybody, and I can't. Every time I try, it just blows up in my face. So completely turns to dust. Maybe even makes it worse.
You make things worse?
No. I
No.
found I don't do well with sketchy people. Like those sketchy children, I did not do well in that situation, so maybe I should not go there.
Okay.
I'm a sketchy child, but I think I would be well suited to this.
That's fair.
You know, this is out of character, but I was thinking about the orphanage and like recruiting some orphans.
Child labor. God.
If they're
Hey,
still alive,
some of
bro.
them were pretty powerful.
True.
Any of them?
Anyway.
Any others got dragon friends?
Right.
Dragon tales, dragon
Oh my
tales.
I mean,
Hello, take my hand.
I feel like Elodia and I have similar strengths in terms of our connection to the natural world. If there is an area where we can realize that at some point, we can
Little
always...
could go with us as well.
Very true. She's also very in tune.
Well, and she's also very good with the meditation side of.
Yes, she
Little
Connecting
is
with
from
people.
Ilajan.
Well,
So
Part of the
she could
Mind
talk to her
Wakers.
people. Yeah.
Or the Mind Wakers, baby.
Little and I will go to Ilajan.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna write that down.
okay.
We have Ilajan. We have Maynard and Little.
Anyone else want to join, or do you two want to go somewhere else?
What do you think, Elodia?
Well, you mentioned your druid connections. Maybe inquiring after them somehow. I know they're hidden. And then I don't know where else to go except there were those healer shield maidens.
I put the list of some possible options in the Discord for you guys to look at. And then as well as some of the new ones that you have created, like trying to find druids.
I can definitely go handle those sketchy assassins.
Maybe y'all could ask some villages if you run into any along the way. Is Lysisium far from here?
The
'Cause
city,
you
Lysisium City, is very far.
Well, you were saying how the assassins are kind of in that vicinity because the little boy, the page was like, "I'm from
Oh.
or he had a Cockney accent, but
Yeah.
you know.
Hold on, let me specify once again. Lysisium as a whole is the continent or the country, but then Lysisium City is the big city. So he's just kind of from general Lysisium, but there's a city not too far.
Oh, I thought
where
he
their
was saying
people are
from the city,
No,
and
no,
I was
no.
like, that's kind of far.
Yeah. Sorry, it's confusing. I should not have made it that way, but that's how it's been for 2 years, so I'm just not gonna worry about it. Okay, so we got Silas, Mishra going to deal with the assassins. Who else? Is that it?
I think so.
Krogan, are you still wanting to go to the Monkey Clan, or would you like to accompany anybody else?
On my way to the Monkey Clan.
On your way to the Monkey Clan. Love it.
You heard
Okay.
the idea, it just walked out.
Yeah.
He's a man of action.
Man of action. And then I've got the search for druids with Elodia and endurance. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being
Where's
said,
Misha? Oh, Misha's going with Silas.
yeah. With that being said, do you guys have any other tasks that you would like to maybe send people and gold with to try to do?
Sabib, we need to find out what's their MO.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you guys sent a messenger, but on top of that, are you going to send any troops with this messenger? And also, are you going to send any money with this messenger?
Well, he already left.
We'll back it up so you guys can make that decision.
Do we know, like,
Who's the messenger?
It does make it.
What's the messenger's skill set?
it's the Cockney page.
Y'all
Raise
just
his
sent
hand.
some
snotty nosed kid.
Yeah, y'all sent some dweeb to go find out what the
What?
deal was. I mean, like, you guys just sent people. Like, just
Can we
Do we have
send
any
Can we
representatives?
Dragonborn dude?
you want
Yeah.
to? That's fine. That's fine.
Monk
And,
You can
like-
send Dragoth and
Yeah.
Who's Jacob
He can go by
Varel?
himself.
Jacob Varel. Okay, so a couple of those council members will probably stay and kind of build the actual, because you guys have 500 troops that are going to be incoming that you guys are going to have camp somewhere, stuff like that. So let's say that Jacob Varel, the Kinku Lady, Pes McGrath, and Regan Junebug are kind of on that task force for keeping that in order. But I'll allow Dragoth and perhaps Ead to go do other things for you guys.
Doesn't Tareem have teleportation abilities? Isn't that how he got him and Marshall out of the city?
Because there was a teleportation circle that they then destroyed.
Oh.
Figures.
Dumb.
We have. Go ahead.
Is there any possible way to investigate the Sunders at all? Like, is for sure, or is it certain that Azimentus is using them for teleportation? Or is there any way we can utilize that? Or is there like a being up there we can like be like, hey, or some celestial creatures?
That might be something you need to research.
That would be pretty sick if
Maybe
there's a
we-
celestial dragon.
Maybe we could put Marshall on that.
Like a
since
luck
he's familiar
dragon, but
with-
Bet.
Celestial dragon. One Piece.
Do we
Yup.
Are there any like are any of the I guess I could always ask this in character, but are there any people that are familiar I hate it here. I forgot the damn name of the island again. The
Grolfendir.
Grolfendir.
Yeah.
Are there any people that I would know? Well, I guess I could just ask.
are we sending anybody there?
Yes, that's my question. Like, do we want to? They have dragons.
Yes.
So, who do we want to send though? That seems important.
That will
seem to
take
just
longer.
have strength.
That will take longer to get there.
Rats.
Yes, somebody that has the power of flight? Question mark. If that's even a thing. Hmm.
It might
Are-
not be wise then to go after it. I don't know.
if we're not
Question:
doing it ourselves, then maybe not.
Hit me.
Are there airships in your world?
I don't know. Are there?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Is there
They're trained?
is there a
To answer
Bifrost?
the no Bifrost. To answer your question, yes, there are airships, but they exist in Ethael.
Oh,
Figures.
cross the
So
ocean.
commandeer an airship.
Steal an airship.
Outside these
Like
walls.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Can we make our own?
What we do is we find a dragon, we ride the dragon to the island, and then we command all of them using the dragon.
The next, sorry, there are probably an airship. There are probably a couple airships in Lysisium City as well, because really, Ethael gets all their tech from Lysisium City. A lot of their tech comes from Lysisium City. Go on. What are you saying, Alodia?
Question.
Hit me.
Can we who would be best assigned to research the Sunders? Because I feel like that's gonna play some sort of role, especially since one of them just emptied out.
It would be Marshall, right?
Okay.
That was their
Marshall
whole
and
shebang
Seeley.
was portals.
Okay, let's contact them to take initiative and double down on that.
So Marshall and Seeley are there, and Marshall kind of nods his head and he says, I personally know some, but Seeley would know more than I, and on top of that, the royal family of Narncross would certainly know more than I. So perhaps we will accompany you to Ilijan to speak with our queen.
Yes, that would be fantastic. And what are the odds of, do you think, missing Tareem to join us?
Tareem was in a fragile state last I left him. I'm not sure that his mind is quite right, but it has been a while since I have last spoken. I know not if he is still overcome by his grief.
All right.
You should pay him a visit.
I think that might be a good plan.
At the very least, offer him comfort on our behalf.
Yes.
Indeed.
All right. Well, you can, if you would like, you can join Little and I on our journey.
Yes, I believe we will. Okay. So I got them coming to Ilijan as well.
Yeah, we got a full squad over here.
Yeah, squad up, right? Okay.
Squad branch.
All right. Can we take a pause? I'm about to pee my pants.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna have to head and work on a group project. So
You don't want to know the outcomes? What
well,
the heck?
I hate leaving in the middle.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. Okay, we're back at it. And we have decided where everybody is going and what we are kind of doing. So currently we have Endurance and Elodia heading to find the druids. We have Silas and Mishra going to find the assassins. We have Krogan and Little off to find the monkey people and convince them. And Maynard is going with, you said Elodia and Endurance. Okay. So let's begin with everybody kind of going their separate ways. So Krogan and Little, you guys slip out of the party before anybody else kind of notices. Krogan says, monkey people? And Little overhears this and says to herself, hell yeah. And so Krogan and Little set off to find the monkey people. You guys are going down the mountain in the deep, bitter cold. But due to your both beastly natures, you are able to traverse the land at a very quick speed. Go ahead and roll a d20, both of you for me, just to be sure.
Also, I completely lost these, and Ryan was like, "Oh, they're under the couch." So also dubbed to Ryan that he was able to find these. When Savannah and I went to the market, look at the dice. Where's the thingy?
Wow,
Oh.
shiny.
Those are so
Gorgeous.
pretty.
Gorgeous. Oh,
Gorgeous.
okay. I'm rolling. I'm
14.
rolling.
14.
10.
Okay. So, Krogan and Little, you guys are get to the bottom of the river and it is covered in ice.
Mm.
Little, you go to kind of step on some of the ice to see if it'll hold you and you guys can maybe walk down the river path. And as you do, your big cat paw just slips right through the ice and you begin to flounder.
So should I help? I look behind me. And I just hear, "Row, row." That's so I take my axe out and I put it out for her to grab onto. What do you think?
Not ideal, but
Do you think I'm gonna let a cat scratch me as I'm pulling it out? I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. So I pull her out like this. I'm just like,
Pulls her out. You're so strong, you pull straight up and she comes right out of the ice.
you okay?
do I look okay to you? Oh my dad!
Okay.
And so very cautiously you make your way around the ice. And through the next few days, you all traverse the bitter cold and eventually it becomes a little less cold and you make camp a few times along the way. Kind of catching your food, I suppose, as you go along. Roll a d20, see how well you do.
Oh, jeez.
Also, I'm sorry. I'll just hear like my eating. I'm just like.
You're not. It's doing a good job.
17.
Oh shit. 20.
Whoa.
Oh, heck yeah.
Heyo.
So,
Means I'm gonna
Krogan-
fall through the ice this time.
Krogan like pounds his chest and he like goes rage mode to go hunting for some food. And you go and you like catch a small bird and like bite its head off and start eating. And then like and then Little comes out of the woods like carrying like a whole deer across her back.
Whoa.
Yeah, get on my level.
Mm.
Gorilla guy.
She doesn't know his name.
Share? Will you share? Will you share that, please?
Sure. But only because I couldn't physically eat this much food.
Okay. And then I guess I start a fire. Take out my. I think I've got knives. It's here. No, I'll just take out my great axe and just slice the head off.
God.
Then clean it.
You got it on me.
Should have stood back. Anyway, so we eat it. What's next?
Chomp chomp. Okay, so after your traversing, at the end of the second day, it has warmed up significantly. Krogan, you realize you're getting close to your home. The foliage begins to become a lot more jungle and tropical, and so you realize that you're home. And it's pretty easy for you once you get to the part of the river that your village is kind of on, to find your clan. And so you return to this giant, city of tree houses.
Mm.
And you see that once again it is filled with monkeys. But outside the gate, kind of outside the perimeter, you are spotted by two baboons that look at you and begin beating their chests and kind of giving their cry. And with that, more individuals kind of come out and see you. And
Couldn't even roll for stealth, huh?
Oh, do you want to? Do you want to go in stealthy?
Sure, let's do it. That's what I wanted to do, yeah.
Okay, sure, go in stealthy. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, Krogan, I saw this and that one scene in Catching Fire. Oh god. We're fucked.
21.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
Hey, yo. Okay, little, you roll for stealth too.
Alrighty.
She's gonna give us away.
I know, I think my stealth's like -1.
But you're a
let's see.
cat.
12.
Oh,
Okay. So, Krogan, you kind of lean back and you're like, and Little's like kind of creeping up behind you. And what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
I'm on all floors. I'm just keep my head down, and I'm trying to get to what was the name of my guy, of the main guy who exiled me? What was the name of it? Is he my dad? I can't
Chief.
remember.
Chief.
Chief.
All right. I look at Little and say, "We will go find Chief, and he will help."
Roger Dodger.
Don't
What does
make
Chief look like?
You don't need to know.
Okay.
He's
Well, now.
He's a little fat.
Oh.
He's like this big.
Do y'all have the term fat and gorilla?
Yes. Some gorilla's fat.
Huh. Is there a gorilla patriarchy?
Only gorilla archy.
So yeah, like the patriarchy.
I guess. Don't know what that means, but okay. Anyway, do not make any noise that sound like cat. They will try to eat you.
Ooh.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Only ooh. Low tones. No high tones.
Ooh.
Okay. We go. You follow me.
So, you creep through the tree line, and you manage to maneuver around kind of the main part of the village. And up ahead, you see kind of this extremely large tree house up ahead. It's pretty high up in the trees, though. There are a couple kind of ropes hanging down to ascend it. And you notice that there are kind of ape guards kind of stationed around, larger gorilla types. And so as you kind of hide between tree trunks and between some of these ground buildings, Little kind of kicks a bucket over and out spills like these banana peels.
Look at her. No littering.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Doesn't seem like the guards noticed you.
Died.
Wow.
No. Don't make noise like that.
Okay. Ooh.
Yes. All right, so
So-
keep going.
Keep going, and you get kind of to the base of the chief's home.
This is Chief's home. He needs big home because he is big man. Big fat man.
You're mean.
Being fat means successful here.
Okay. Alrighty.
You
Right
only
on, right on.
you have all the resources to get banana.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Alrighty. So what's our move?
We climb up. We go through a window. We don't break window.
Don't break window.
We see if it open. It not open. We break wood.
Wood?
Yes. Much easier to replace here. Less offensive.
Oh. More resources.
Yes.
Okay,
So-
sounds good.
Krogan, very skillfully and without any type of issue, scales this because he's been doing this his whole life. Little, on the other hand, I'm going to need an athletics check.
God. Okay. Okay. That's not my D20. $10.
Okay. With much struggle, you successfully make it up. Like, literally, your arms are noodles about to fall. Like, you are about to fall. But you muster up all of your cat courage to show up all these monkeys, and you get to the top.
Cat nip. Okay. Got there.
What?
And you flop at the top, at the base of it. You're kind of on a wooden platform that goes all the way around this treehouse.
Wow. We're pretty high up.
It's cool. It is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Expensive. Many bananas take to make this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's go inside. Try
Okay.
window.
Okay.
Window open?
You jiggle the window, and it is locked.
Okay.
Shoot. We break door then.
Okay.
Alright. So I take out my axe. And then I clobber the door.
Alright. In a very loud way, you start chopping at this door.
Mm-hmm.
You chop through the door, you give it a good, 3 swings, and by this time you begin to hear kind of a rummaging below, and you see that the 2 ape guards below look up and they start beating their chests and yelling, and you see a light inside the house that turns on, or a candle that is lit, and you hear yelling, and on the other side of the door you hear, "Who goes there?"
Logan. Logan.
Tis I, Krogan.
And through kind of through some of the wood that you've chopped, there's kind of a hole about this big, and you see your father's head kind of pop through, and he says, "Krogan, why do you chop down my door?" And he reaches over, and it just opens.
I thought it was. I need to talk to you.
So you chopped down my door?
I thought it was locked. I didn't mean it. Dude,
Why did you not knock?
I didn't
What
think
a
you would open
shit
it.
son.
I didn't think you would open it.
And he puts his fists on his hips, and he says, "You're supposed to be exiled."
I would not come here without a good reason. What was the reason? I looked down. I looked down a little.
Emma, what was the reason?
She doesn't.
Need you guys to make an intelligence check to see if you can remember the reason.
Knowledge domain cleric.
I have a high intelligence thingy though.
Do it.
Mine's 14.
Brogan?
Is it okay? Give me a second. 13.
Okay.
Finally, after some pondering, the reason comes back to you. After a few days out in the wilderness, it kind of shook your memory, and you just thought you were coming for a visit. But you finally remembered your goal was to ask for their help to fight Asamintus.
We look for your help.
That was my natural guess.
to fight Asamintus. He will take over. He will take over clan. He will kill everyone. Maybe you. I did not want you to die.
Make a persuasion check with advantage, Krogan.
Persuasion. Ooh, okay, reroll. 11.
He looks at you, and your mother shows up behind, and so she looks like she's just rolled out of bed with her little sleeping cape on, and
Are
She
they
says-
gorillas or are they humans too?
They're humans.
They're
humans.
humans. Everybody's
Okay, I thought this whole
human.
time they were gorillas.
Oh, me too.
I
Wouldn't it
thought
be
he was
No.
raised by gorillas.
No.
That
They
would
live
be
in
amazing.
harmony. They live in harmony with all of the different
Okay.
monkeys.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay?
like the
Gotcha.
opposite of
Sorry.
Tarzan.
It's kind of the opposite of Tarzan. Everybody lives in
Okay.
harmony. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
My bad. Go ahead.
so anyway,
How are these
since
gorillas
technically humans are kind of at the top of the ape pecking order.
talking?
I
Because
see.
we ourselves are primates. They run the clan. Anyway, where were we?
I don't know. His mom.
His mom shows up and says, "Broken honey." Really deep voice. "You came back."
I had to.
And your dad just kind of is looking at you steely-eyed with his hands on his hips, and you see kind of some water begin to moisten his eyes, and he says, "I have missed you every day, son, hoping you would come back."
I miss you too. And then I hug him.
You hug, and he is much larger than you, and you hug.
Hmm. Dang, he must be really tall. Oh my
He's
god.
very big guy, also very large, or a very large guy. Gives you big hug,
Okay.
and he says, "Of course, son, we will give you our help."
Okay.
I would cry, but my SSRIs won't let me.
we all look at Little, very confused,
Very confused.
and then we just forget about it and keep going with our conversation. I think man named Azamantis will come and fight at what's the name of the place?
He's just gonna come take
Sabib.
all of it. He's just gonna take over everything.
He will come. He will conquer. He will come. He will take bananas.
And he says, "What?" It's this like really loud what that like rattles the whole forest and echoes through, and you hear kind of in all the trees like, "Woo, woo, 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 woo," and it just that everybody is like up in arms, and he like beats his chest. He's like, "No, we will not have that. Linchu."
That's what I thought. Yes, I thought that my thoughts exactly. So, we fight at Sabib. Is that correct?
Somewhere. You fight somewhere.
We fight somewhere, sometime. I do not know. But we will fight. We will defend home bananas.
So the thought pops into your brain. Maybe you should send your fighters to Sabib once it is fortified.
I think we should go to Zabib fairly soon.
I will amass our warriors.
Okay. That was all I really came here for. I guess I should leave now since I am still technically exiled. So
Yes,
I love you. I love
agree.
you.
I love you too, son.
Did we do the Wakanda forever and walk away?
I guess he does something. He does whatever you guys do.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever we do, probably do like
A
weird
handshake, a
stuff.
firm handshake.
Okay. Yeah.
Touch
firm handshake.
foreheads, something.
Yeah. No, like we do. Yeah, you do that, and then you just wow. There it is.
I like it.
Yep. There you go. Firm handshake. Straight into that.
Like it.
And then I look at Little. I'm like, I think we did good here.
I think we did too. Great meeting you guys.
And the mom comes up and gives you a big hug, and the dad also comes and gives a big hug around you both. And he looks at you and he says, "Wife?"
No.
Cat.
You said it at the same time.
And he says, regret.
Yes, uncomfortable. I guess we leave now.
You leave now.
Yes,
now.
we leave now. Let's go.
Leave now.
Okay, bye. Bye.
And so you leave. And so it takes you an additional 2 days to return back home. And when you do, you return to, you guys have, they've kind of made a camp to the north side of Mount Defendra, outside of the mountain, where it is less cold. And that has kind of become your temporary place of meeting until Sabib has been solidified. And that is also where you're keeping your 500 troops currently. It is a large camp, mostly made of cloth tents and whatnot at this time. And yeah, the meeting table has kind of been moved to a larger circular cloth tent. And yes, so that's where we'll end your little adventure. Let's go to Silas and Mishra. Silas and Mishra, it takes them about a day to get to this town that this boy was talking about. This town is called, where my name's at?
Azerbaijan.
It's called Sharon. So, the town of Sharon, it's kind of old looking. You can see there's kind of this like weird haze that sits over it, not from anything in particular. If anything, it smells kind of funny. And it seems to be just a very like almost gray city, very bland, and everyone on the streets kind of has a very like watchful eye as two newcomers kind of enter the streets. You see people kind of just like whispering amongst themselves, and you see some kind of weird things happening in alleys, stuff like that. This seems like a very unsafe place. Misha and Silas, you're walking down the main street. Misha says, "Uh, how do we know which ones are the assassins and which one are just normal people? Because they all look kind of sketchy, if we're being honest."
That's a good question. Is there like a, I don't know. Do I have any trick?
Any what?
Any tips and tricks? Any call signs?
I mean, I don't know how to get in touch with these people.
We have any intel?
Just that they operate in this city.
Interesting. Well, I'm open to ideas.
How about we just walk up and ask somebody? Excuse me, sir. And she just like stops this man on the side of the road that's like working on a wagon wheel. And she says, "Do you know anything about some sketchy like assassin people that kill people for money?" And he like looks at her and he like says, "Get back, girl," and just kind of like pushes her away. And she's like, "What the? Well, that was very rude. Okay, well, maybe it's him."
Sorry about her. Do you know anything about those kinds of people?
And he turns to you and he's this just very grizzled man, very gray. And his face just looks very like tanned by the sun and worn with wrinkles. And he looks at you and says, "I don't know about any of that kind of stuff. Unless, of course, you got a little something to make me remember."
We have a bit. How much do we have? How much did we bring?
How much did you bring?
Uh,
We had 10,000 in the group treasury.
No, I'm not. Alyssa says hi.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hello.
Me and Natalie got some bugs.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Sorry, what did the guy say?
So, you have 10,000 in the group treasury. So how much did you want to bring?
How much is a lot? Or not a lot? Like maybe like 500.
That's still a lot.
Okay, maybe like 100.
Okay, sure, sure. So you guys are now down to 9,900.
Not necessarily gonna spend it all, but you know.
Okay.
I'll toss him a couple gold.
Okay. So he looks at this and he looks at it and he says, he kind of puts it in his pocket and he says, there's a lot of people in this town that would have killed you on the spot for asking a question like that.
Fair
I
enough.
might just do that too. You don't
I
sweeten it up a little.
recommend you don't, but
Is that a challenge? He kind of puffs up.
Sure.
Welcome to the Solid
Yeah.
Platoon.
He
Not
says,
how I want to do things, but I'm not afraid to.
okay. And you watch him square up to throw a punch at you. All right. Let's see. He's going to try to hit you, Silas.
Okay.
All right. So he rears up, and Silas, you are just too freaking quick. And he just like misses you, and you duck out the way.
Are you going to make me hit you back, or
And he pulls back to throw another punch. All right. What's your AC, Silas?
18?
Oh, and he misses again.
I
Silas, you're just
really don't want to have to do this, but like, if you keep coming at me like this, I'm gonna hit back. It's not gonna
And
feel good.
at this point, a couple of the people have kind of gathered around to watch this happen. He's like, "F you, man!" And he goes to like throw another one. Also misses again.
Okay, at this point, I'm just gonna hit him.
What are you hitting him with?
The dripstick.
Man.
Nice.
All right, 17 to hit.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me 17 to hit. Yeah, you definitely hit this guy. Let's do this one. All right, how much damage you doing?
Okay, I'm rolling for damage.
Yeah, man. Gonna hit this guy. Oop.
Oop.
There we go.
14 damage.
Ooh, okay. You clock him with the drip stick. Are you spraying him or are you actually hitting him with it, like slashing him?
I'm slashing him.
Okay, man. You come in and you just lay a slash across his chest, and he just is like, has this massive gaping bloody spot across his chest. I think my shirt came undone, but anyway, just yeah, we're good. Anyway, so anyway, he like kind of falls back and stumbles back a little, and he from the wagon that he was fixing, you watch him as he like grabs a sword from kind of behind it and pulls that out as well, and he's gonna try to hit you with a sword this time.
I have 2 attacks if I.
Oh yeah, go ahead and do that if you want to.
Okay, if we're doing this.
Yeah, man.
Another 17.
Holy moly, you hit him with another slash. Hit some
Oh,
damage,
shit.
bro.
I rolled an 8 and a 6 for the damage. Plus, I think another 1.
Okay, so what was this? 14 plus 8 plus 6 is what, another 14, so 15. So we're up to 29 damage. Okay, so you come at this guy and you just go, and like with 2 quick attacks, you fell this man, and his body just falls to the ground, and you just watch his blood kind of spills and pours as he sputters the last few coughs, and he looks up at you just in absolute fury.
So where are these people? Sorry, I think I missed it between the sputters.
And he looks at you and he says, "F you, man," and just dies. And Mishra's like, Silas, you just killed a man.
I'm going to use my accursed specter and this
I was waiting for it. There's
Go on.
recruit.
And then I'm gonna bring him back as a zombie.
Oh my gosh. And as you do this, everybody's sitting around watching as you like extend your hand and start muttering an incantation, and this body begins to resurrect. Let's see. Let me find some good music here. And so everybody like looks around at you and they start whispering, and you see like some people have like screamed and kind of run. And you see one person standing in the middle of the street watching this happen. You see this man, very tall, very thin, these long, dark dreads, with like the nice little like, gold cuffs and stuff. And he approaches you. Then he looks down kind of at your resurrected specter. How does that look, by the way?
Little ghosty.
Little ghosty. So,
Little ghosty.
yeah, he sees your little ghosty, and Mishra is like, Silas, oh my god, are you freaking kidding me right now? And so she like walks up to Ghosty Man and she's like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that just happened, sir. And he's just like looking at you, like just kind of like looking through everybody, just kind of like. And she's like, oh my god. Oh. And so you see out of the corner of your eye this younger guy approaches you, and he looks at the specter and he looks at you, and he puts his hand out to shake your hand.
I'll shake his hand.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Silas. And yours?
Corey.
Corey?
Corey.
It's good to meet you. Are you the people we're looking for? Or with them?
Who are you looking for?
I suppose some mercenaries.
Well, we might be. Why don't you come with me?
Lead the way.
And so Mishra just like is like, Silas, we're just gonna follow this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of hot, but is this safe? Okay,
We can
okay.
handle ourselves.
Okay, fine. Okay. So, you guys start following Corey through the alleyways and whatnot of this still hazy, still kind of dingy with puddles of muck on the ground through the streets. You follow him through some alleyways and whatnot, around some buildings. Eventually, you stop at this one building and you see it. There's like a strange inscription kind of written outside the door, very faintly kind of etched in the stone. And Mishra looks at that and says, Weeping Roses. Can you read that?
No, I don't think I don't understand this at all.
Well, I do. I don't know. I can read it. I know you can't, but I can read it anyway. Cool. That sounds like the group we were supposed to find, right?
I'd say so.
Ah, cool. Well, I guess we did find the right people. Nice. So Corey leads you into this building. And it looks like it's just a tavern initially. And he's kind of meets up with the guy at the front desk and whispers a few things, and the guy at the front desk kind of ushers him back to a different room. And back there, it's an underground passage that leads you below. And below there seems to be a large wine cellar that seems to have been converted into a meeting space. And you also see some chests kind of lined up around, and You see several men sitting there, kind of talking over some pieces of paper. And you see another large man that looks similar to Corey. He's kind of in the same garb, kind of got his hair in the same way. And he looks up at you and he says, "Brother, who have you brought to me?" And he says, "Just some people that I believe were interested in finding us. And perhaps we are interested in recruiting them." And so the man stands up and kind of looks at you and comes over and looks you up and down, Silas, kind of sizes you up. And he extends his hand and says, "Name's Marlbrook."
Nice to meet you. I'm Silas.
"Well," and he kind of sits back down and offers you a seat. He says, "What can I do for you, Mr. Silas?"
Well, me and my company of that I'm a representative of, we're trying to gather as many soldiers as we can, as many people to help against. Have you heard of Azimentus or the Pale Rider?
"Perhaps I have."
Yeah, well, he's a pretty big threat. Just kind of to the whole continent. And my group is trying to combat them.
"So you want to recruit us? Our
Yeah,
services?"
ideally, yes.
"Sure, we can be recruited at a cost."
Okay. What's your general rate?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a 500 gold startup fee, and then for traveling around, that'll be an additional 1,000 gold a week. Um, and I mean, there you have it.
Interesting. How can I get you to bring that down for me?
I don't think it's a matter of bringing it down. I think you just need to have the funds to pay for our services. I don't know if you're aware, but we're much more than soldiers. I think our brute force
Oh.
is just superficial compared to our other abilities.
Clearly, but I've been in this line of work, and these prices are a bit much. Just between you and me.
Well, if it's a bit much for you, you can take your business elsewhere.
I'm gonna talk to, my friend. I forgot her
Mishra?
name for a second. Yeah, Mishra, my friend.
My
God,
gosh.
how could you?
How could you be late?
So you have an aside with Mishra.
Yeah, what's the game plan here?
I really thought that you were going to be the one to come up with that. I'm just here for muscle. I think we need to
I'm
convince them that
unsure.
there's something in this for them. We need to give them a reason to want to do this. If they want to do this, they won't make us pay.
Hmm.
Or if we can offer them something, I don't know. They seem to be people of the bargaining type. The bartering type, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Not sure if you understand exactly how big a threat he is. If this is unsuccessful, it's going to have rippling effects, and they will make it here. Everything will be destroyed. These are not if statements. Well, I suppose the first one is if we lose, which we need all the help we can get. But if we lose, there is nothing.
You're assuming that that's if we take a side, that is your side, or no side at all. But what's to say that we don't join their side?
Are you?
Why should I join you?
Are you a pure-blooded elf?
I'm human.
Hmm.
Not sure if that's on their agenda. They're pretty racist, if you haven't heard.
Even prejudice can be bypassed by skill sets that may be necessary.
Coin, you see?
Well, it sounds like your business here might be over, sir, unless you can come up with a good reason why we should help you. Because evidently you do not have the funds to support us.
I can pay you the 500.
Okay.
Further than that, I'm not sure.
Well, okay. It sounds like you cannot pay for our services.
Guys, help me. I'm stuck.
We're not there.
I've lost the dialogue
You haven't put a
options.
number. You haven't put a number on it. You just keep saying, "Can you bring it down?" And they're like, "We don't. I mean, if you can't, blah blah blah." You gotta say a number. And you gotta say
I
it
just offered
lower
a
than.
number.
Roll a
let me-
religion check.
Religion?
No.
God,
You gotta
what
say a low number. You gotta say a really low number, and then they'll be like, "No." And then you'll be like, "How about 25 coin more?" And they'll be like, "No." And then how about you add another 100 on top of that? And they're like, "All right."
Guys, my dialogue tree is not opening.
It could open. Come on, man. Keep working.
I'm struggling.
Misha leans over and says, "Can't you tell him, like, mask will help him or something? Don't you have some, like, masky connections or something?"
Are you familiar with Mask?
Sure.
Well, we are, or I am an acolyte of Mask. We are champions of Mask. We represent Mask. Maybe we could get some favors for you if you were to lend us your services.
And you could see he kind of is like staring at you for a moment, but then he bursts out into laughter, just oh wait a minute. You think that I'm gonna believe that you are an acolyte of Mask. Okay, sure. So you're a priest or something?
No. I'm essentially a mercenary for Mask.
Okay, you're a mercenary for Mask, so you go around and say, "Ooh, I kill you for the sake of illusion." Ha ha ha.
No, not exactly.
Okay, well then, what can Mask offer me?
If you don't see the point in getting any favors from aspects, I don't know if I can help you.
Well, first off, what do you mean by favors? And second off, how can I be so sure that you're not just making all this up?
Oh my god. I can't believe I have to spell out what a favor is. This is interesting. I'm like, Mask, can you help me out here? Is there anything we show our presence, connection here?
Silas, you begin to glow behind your mask, like a faint kind of purpley blue light. And Mishra looks at you and she's like, Silas, did you put LEDs in your mask? What's going on? And so you kind of like look down and you see like the light kind of casting across your blade, and you hear this like deep voice kind of boom, and you watch as like a secondary mask kind of like drifts off your face in this like spectral form in front of this guy. And it says, in Mask's voice, he says, I can offer you things that you would never believe. I know what you do in this line of work. I know you're full of lies and deceit, and that is what runs through my energy. And so you see this man kind of like slightly taken aback at first, but then kind of leans forward and says, I'm listening. And so Mask says, if you become a follower of mine, I can give you much in the way of illusions, much in the ways of deceit. All you have to do is follow me. And so that he kind of like kicks back and talks with some of his buddies. And he says, So you'll help us expand our network through your lies and deceit and illusions. And the mask spectral form kind of begins to take the shape of a full-sized body. And it is kind of Mask's avatar that the form he kind of takes as this almost like jester-like character. And this is the first time you've seen his kind of physical form in a very long time.
Mhm.
And he stepped forward and he kind of like caresses his cheek with his thumb and like runs it down his chin and says, absolutely. And it's a little uncomfortable, honestly. Like you're a little weirded out by this. But
Especially since he's my
Marlbrook
dad.
Marlbrook kind of leans back and he says, fine, but I still want some gold out of this. And he kind of leans over and looks at you and he says, 500.
Sounds fair.
Plus the continuing favors of this mask. And Mask kind of like takes his hand back and says, you will not address me as just Mask. And it's kind of like in this weird deep voice that almost like resonates through your mind. And Marlbrook is kind of like rattled a little bit and he says, my lord. $500 gold. I will help.
Thank you very much. Don't have that on me. No, I'm kidding. And do we just tell him where to meet us, or
I'd say so.
are we like assembling the army together in
I
one
mean, like,
place?
that's kind of your decision. Really, this is kind of more of an intel group. So, I mean,
Yeah.
like, more so of like a kind of deliver us intel every so often and we'll give you what you want.
Okay. Okay, then I'll tell them where to report to,
Yeah, that's
how to
fine.
find us.
Yeah. You tell them to send a messenger to the camp every so often to kind of report back.
No receipt payment.
Mm-hmm.
And once they, on their first delivery.
Yeah. So, Marlbrook reaches out and shakes your hand, and Mishra was like, what the heck just happened? That was kind of uncomfortable, Silas. I was a little creeped out by what was going on there, but also, like, it
Yeah.
was kind of hot.
I was
Anyway.
a little lost too. I don't know about that part, but it all worked out.
And then she kind of out loud ponders to herself, is Mask hot?
I don't think I'm allowed to answer that, but
I think you're biased though. Anyway, well, let's get back. This place is creeping me out, and I don't want you to kill anybody else.
while he was stepping, I warned him twice, to be fair.
You could have just stunned him, you know. You didn't have to murder him and then rip out his soul.
Well,
The specter still floats behind you, mouth agape.
he does a little swirl around me. He does a backflip. The zombie starts doing that.
Oh my god. Okay.
I emote on him a little bit.
Okay. So, with a new specter in tow, as well as the benefit of intelligence, you and Mishra continue back to the camp. Meanwhile, Elodia, Endurance, and Maynard, you all begin your quest to find the druids.
Wait,
What?
I may not go with them. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I
What do you
will.
want to do?
I don't think I'll be very useful on this journey.
Okay.
I'll get to what I do later. I'm just probably gonna stay back and research stuff.
So, we'll say that Elodia and Endurance venture out together. And I almost want to save this one for next time, just so Elodia can actually participate in it. So if you don't mind, Endurance, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll have,
No,
let's do
that,
this.
actually.
Let's do this. You and Maynard and Elodia hang back at the main camp and help it kind of get organized, while everybody else, since their journeys were a little further out, already went ahead and went. You guys stay back. So it's Endurance, Elodia, and Maynard
That sounds good to me.
at the camp.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go research potential, maybe powerful magic items or things that could help us as far as weapons and armor. See what I can find.
Sounds like a good
Just,
plan.
just see if there's any info around here, places we could go.
Good.
So, let's say you spend some time in the library at near the Tower of Telethos.
Right?
Endurance, in the meantime, is just going to kind of take the time to meditate and kind of like attune herself with the earth and see if she can like feel, I guess, any energy around her.
Yeah. Okay. So, Maynard, you go to the Library of Telethos, and you are greeted by Egrot, once again, the monocled with the cat, Illithid, and he is kind of one of the librarians at this place. And he kind of directs you to a certain couple of books on, let's say, like building like siege weapons. And you see quite a few things at your disposal, you know, ballistas and trebuchets and catapults and like kind of even devices to put on large beasts to go through things, a la Elephant, Lord of the Rings style. So you know, you kind of look into some of these items, but you also look into like some artifacts, like weapons, old weapons of old. And there was a weapon used by, let's see here, Harkian. So the ancient Harkian, one of his aspects, the creator aspect, let's say, like a builder aspect, had a huge kind of hammer. And this hammer was able to do legendary damage. And so you see that there's an ancient shrine of this aspect deep in this forest to the southeast of you, where this hammer may or may not reside. This temple.
Okay. And what do we know about Harkian again?
So Harkian is the ancient, but this is a particular aspect. So Harkian is the creator, so like Mask is an aspect of Harkian. I forget the creator aspect, I'll tell you later. So you find some of those things. Meanwhile, Endurance, you spend some time in nature. You kind of get away from the camp. And since you guys are kind of at the base of Mount Offendra, you've kind of set up camp down there, so it's a little bit less harsh from the elements and whatnot. You're near a bunch of forests and things. It's a little bit more similar to kind of the forest where you found the Kirin. You spend some time out there alone meditating, and you begin to sense kind of these almost like natural well springs of magic that just flow through the earth, these ley lines, if you will. And you feel you know that. Hold on, let me turn off this rather suspenseful music. I don't think this is very appropriate. I like this one. So you begin meditating, and these ley lines that kind of create the weave of magic. You know that the druids always tend to set up their places where they intersect, because where they intersect is kind of where like the Fey magic is the strongest. The connection to the Fey is the strongest, and the connection to magic is the strongest. And since these are kind of the natural formations of the world, they tend to be in very like beautiful natural places, places that are in fact touched by magic. So you sense that there is a strong presence to the north of these ley lines. So you suspect that perhaps there could be a druidic tribe set up there. Because that would be a natural destination for them to be.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kind of make a note of that. And I don't know if we're a Lodiot in the area, I would inform her of that as well.
All right, so let's say the 4 days have elapsed, and the first ones back are Krogan and Little. They return back to camp, and shortly later that evening, Mishra and Silas return. You guys all reconvene back at the camp.
So, how'd it go?
We will protect the bananas.
I'm a gorilla.
I guess these are good signs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Lil puts a paw up to Grogan. Is it Grogan or Krogan?
It's Krogan.
Why?
It's Kroger.
With a C or K?
K.
Oh God, I've been saying Grogan.
That's worse.
That's really bad.
Anyway,
Grogan.
paw up, Krogan. With a K.
Gotcha. Yes, small cat.
I'm 7 foot. I'm almost as tall as you.
Mm,
Look at my robe,
still
bitch.
you are still shorter than me, meaning you are small.
But anyway, we did great. We did great.
Yes, we did very
Glad
good.
to hear it.
What about you guys?
We secured the help of the assassiny mercs people.
Weeping Roses.
Weeping
Crazen-
Roses.
Crazen Marlbrook is his name.
Crazen Marlbrook. Yes. The cost of like 500 gold.
Sounds like a
The
deal.
treasury is now down to 9,500.
I see you have a new friend there, Silas. Do I dare ask where you got him from?
Don't worry about it.
Silas killed somebody in
I
the
found
town.
him.
He
Silas!
killed
He
this
was
man
just
in
laying
broad
there.
daylight. He murdered him.
What were
There's
you
just
doing,
a-
Mishra?
There was just a body there.
I was an onlooker in shock.
Oh,
I do not believe that, but okay.
I was.
oh, wow. Did that at least earn you the assassin's respect?
Well, we got it done at the end of the day.
Oh. Well, I think I found there seems to be a magical wellspring to the north of here. As you can see, I have not ventured out with Elodia yet, but I was taking this time to reattune myself to this part of the world. I'm less familiar with it, and I believe I have found a potential place where some of my people might be. So we'll be setting off to there soon.
I was able to research about possible weaponry, large weaponry, that we could make. You know who would really help us with that if we could somehow get in contact with a buddy again? Oh.
No.
But then also, I read about a legendary hammer. Is it like a big maul, or is it just a hammer?
It's a big battle hammer.
Okay. So that may be something we could find that would help someone. Maybe Krogan could use it.
I would like another. I would like a hammer. Yes. Please.
So, and it's located at the Temple of an Aspect of Harkian near here.
Let me figure out what the name is for you, but keep going.
So it could be useful to find.
Some dumb god. Aspects. Put the emphasis on ass.
Breach. God of tools. Yep.
What a tool. Okay. So we go get hammer. We go get hammer.
I mean,
Win.
Hammer.
Hammer win. Hammer win. Where?
Hammer,
Where?
hammer, hammer, hammer. Come on, Durance. Hammer,
Hammer
hammer.
time.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
Hammer. Hammer.
let's
Hammer.
go get the
Hammer.
hammer. then.
Hammer.
Woo!
We go get hammer. Where? I mean, I know where, but like where?
To the southeast.
Temple of Freach to the southeast.
Temple of
Okay.
Freach.
Freach.
Who knows how to control map? I go where they
I
say.
do.
Okay. Point.
You know where it is.
That
you
way.
Yeah, you
That
see
way.
a map. You found a map that has local locations, and you see where it is.
Where is food? I need food before I go.
Now,
So,
is there anything in there talking about it that says we shouldn't take it?
I mean, like, it is a sacred weapon, so I mean, just it was
we're
a
gonna
book
have
of
to fight.
artifacts.
Well, should we consult with someone or should we just go take it? We don't want to get cursed or something. Anyone?
I don't know. I just
Go.
I don't think we need
Hammer.
we don't need
Hammer.
consultation.
Hammer.
We just need hammer.
Hammer.
We will not consult. We will just go.
We steal. We have the power of God on our side.
And anime.
Nice.
Oh no.
Silas, how does oh
Bless
you. How does it's Harkian? So if Mask is your dad, is Freach your uncle? How do you feel about stealing from your uncle?
I was right about Mask Daddy.
If you're stealing from your uncle, it's more like borrowing. Yes.
If you insist. All right.
Yes.
It's not as bad.
We will steal Mask Uncle's hammer.
I think it would be Mask's brother, Silas's uncle.
Mask Uncle.
Hammer.
Hammer. Hammer. Hammer.
Hey,
Well, I'm also hungry, so I think we should go hit the food tent and see what they got, okay?
Okay.
Let's go!
With this no
So,
hammer, everything will be nailed.
Here, what are you
man.
holding?
It is envelope cutter.
Oh crap, man.
Dragon head.
What the
Ooh.
heck?
Nope.
I see it. Oh.
So you guys kind of go outside and it's this just encampment of many tents kind of set up in a clearing in the middle of a forest. You see many people kind of getting supplies together, carrying boxes of what food you do have, and you go over to kind of the mess tent, and it's this very large tent, and you see the old lady, Pollyanna Rightfoot, going to town, cooking something up in a cauldron, and you go up, and she says, "Oh, hello, dears. Oh, so today I have some porridge for you."
Thank you.
Have
Oh,
some
me?
porridge. And so she all pours you like these little tiny half portions of porridge and hands them out.
Do you have any milk?
No, unfortunately not. That is not a luxury we're able to afford at this time.
That's okay. Thank you so much. I can do with this.
As you see, we currently don't have a lot of money going towards the food fund. I don't know how our men are gonna hold up.
I'm this close.
Oh my god.
Should we go? I hate to say it. Should we go hunting? I'm
I'm
not
sure
very
we should.
good at hunting, but
And why say we go?
because we need to. Apparently, she's crying now.
Endurance is already like thumbs up, walking out into the kind of. Are there like wooded areas like
Yeah,
where
totally.
I'm walking to the woods or kind of near the outskirts of them?
Question: Can I
Mhm.
procure javelins?
Sure, probably. Somebody's probably got some.
Can I get like 4 javelins
Sure, I don't see why not.
for free?
I mean, you're definitely gonna be having to contribute some of your own personal monies because you're gonna probably be purchasing off of another individual, but you can find some.
Can I buy 4 javelins for 10 gold?
20 gold of your personal fund.
15 gold.
Fine.
Deal.
Endurance is gonna transform herself into like a big owl, very large owl, and is just gonna kind of like fly up around looking for. Actually, I should ask first. Is it dark out ish?
Yeah, it's kind of twilight.
Okay, owl works. And I'm just gonna go up and kind of be flying around seeing if I see any deer or anything.
You find a very large elk.
Nice. I shall go for the elk.
As your
Like,
owl.
yeah, I'm gonna like fly high up and then kind of like they have really quiet wings and kind of dive down and have the claws out like so.
Okay,
Aiming for
go
its
ahead
neck.
and go ahead and make an attack.
Alrighty, let's see here. I'll just go ahead and use. I'm not sure there's giant owl stats. Can I just use the eagles? The giant eagle
Oh
stat?
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Alright, let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Da, 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 da. Okay. Let me go ahead and make my attack roll here.
I thought you were like a normal sized owl at first, and I was like,
No! Like a big
you're
one.
a
Like
big
when,
one. I
when
got you.
Percy turns big. Like that sort of owl.
Okay.
Okay. Please don't do me wrong. Okay. Okay, 15 to hit.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Roll for damage.
All right, let's see. There we go. Nice. That is. Damn. All right. That is 15 damage.
Woo! Okay. So you swoop down on this elk and you descend with your talons out, and you just absolutely truck it from the side, and your talons just like sink into it deeply, into its neck, and you hear it like bray out in horror, and it collapses on the ground, and it kind of blows some snot out of its nose, and this blood is just pouring out of its neck, and you kind of give it one good more slash, and it falls silent.
I'll go ahead and do you think it would be possible for me to like fly it back?
You
to
might be
where
kind of like glide dragging it.
That's what I meant, like kind of like a low,
Sure,
low
sure.
fly,
Yeah.
very awkward looking.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kind of start making it, like dragging it back.
So you watch as from the woods, Endurance drags out this elk. Meanwhile, the rest of you have kind of scattered throughout the forest trying to hunt. Maynard clanking quite loudly as he walks through the forest.
You don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
Go for it. Try it.
I
Try
do.
it.
Actually, I do. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The
Go
rest of the
for it.
party kind of is trying to, quietly sneak through the woods to try to hunt, and Maynard's just clink, 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 clink.
Oh my god.
Nisha says, Maynard,
Yes.
have you ever hunted before? Like actually?
Once I went on a gentleman's fox hunt years ago. We were on horses. We had dogs. Not really, no. I didn't kill anything.
Ah, I see. Elodia looking disappointed, shaking her head in the background.
What's her problem?
Meanwhile, you hear this kind of dragging sound, and you see through the tree line as Endurance hauls back this giant elk in an
Nice!
owl form.
I'll just kind of like drop it in a somewhat close-ish area to where it could be easily kind of like pressed and cooked and whatnot.
So you guys cook up this elk and have yourself a nice little elk meal, and the rest of the kind of troops that smell the cooking, they kind of see you cooking this out on the outskirts, I suppose, and they all kind of watch on hungrily.
I thought we were making it for. I thought we were getting food for the troops.
Oh, are you? Well, I mean, there are 500 people, so are you
That's
giving
why
it
we
to?
were trying to hunt. We were all trying
Okay.
to hunt.
Sure, okay. So you give it to Pollyanna to kind of add to the porridge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
We're trying to find more too.
All right, let's do that. Yeah. So let's
I'll go
say you guys have a couple more successes and manage to bring back 2 more elk.
Huge.
Good size elk. Now Pollyanna watches as you drop these 3 large elk in front of her cooking tent, and she kind of
I'm gonna snap.
I can't believe that you would do such a kind thing for our troops.
Of course. I mean, we just have to do everything around here, I guess. Seems like we're the only ones doing anything with all these 500 capable men just sitting in their tents.
And so some of the troops look on and they say, Thank you. You've inspired me to hunt too. Yeah, I think I can hunt now too. Let's go. And so many men go out into the forest to try to hunt and hopefully don't overhunt this area, thus destroying its ecosystem and also destroying your meat supplies.
Elodia, you should probably tell how to not do that.
No, guys, you'll overhunt everything and you will kill the whole forest and we will no longer have any more meat. So don't do that.
No. Try to look for fruits or plants or anything, not just animals. You need them.
I can't just live off of grass and plants. I need some protein.
She's gonna jab a thumb at the elk and be like, "The hell do you think this is? We have plenty of it."
Like, that's gonna supply me with enough protein to be able to fight off these armies. We better get a proper protein supply coming in, or else these men are gonna lose their strength and
Who's
their
saying
courage.
this?
Just some dude. Just some
I'm
dude.
gonna go punch him in the face.
Yeah. No. You gotta be like, hey, you want protein? How about this knuckle sandwich?
Maynard's not witty enough to say that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but
You
he's
going
quite
up and punching this guy?
Yeah.
All right, roll to hit.
21.
Woo! Yeah, roll some damage on your punch.
How much is punch damage?
Well, I'm gonna say it's a D4 plus whatever your strength modifier is.
All right. Dang it. 6.
Woo! That is a quick and swift punch in the jaw that knocks him to his booty. And kind of everybody's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And you watch as Dragoth approaches, and he kind of picks the guy up off the ground and kind of picks you up, Maynard. He's like,
You can't pick me up.
he kind of tries to grab you. He's a pretty big guy. And he says, "Cease this fighting."
Well, I think respectfully, Dragoth, not respectfully to this man, he does not deserve my respect. If we get some of these men to get up and contribute, it'll probably be better for the morale of everyone. We'd probably have a better, I guess, the men would have their minds in a better place if they were actually active.
And
not
he
demand.
sets. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just and not demand things of us. They could do perfectly well themselves. And she's gonna kind of give a passive aggressive little smile to the guy.
And
I just
Dragoth,
don't tolerate no manners.
Dragoth sets the other guy down and kind of pulls you to the side, Maynard, and he says, "What's bad for morale is punching your own allies."
Someone's got to teach them a lesson, I guess. I'm sorry. Lost my cool there.
Try to do better. You all serve an important role in this force. It would be a shame if you lost their respect.
Indeed. I just feel like we're pulling a lot of extra weight.
In time, the ranks will be organized, but as we are just beginning, it is not at its optimal.
Let's turn around and walk away from him.
Okay.
And
So
Durant's
you...
like,
Go ahead.
and Durant's will kind of like walk up, be like, "Appreciated that. What do you say to you?"
Something about how shouldn't do that. Agree, it's a bit rash, but things need to get ironed out here. We can't do everything for everyone.
Hey, I was with you.
And Durant's will kind of look over her shoulder, and I'm assuming the guy is still kind of like dealing with his. And she's gonna be like, "I think it worked."
But you begin to see as some of the troops have kind of rallied around him and kind of like they're shooting you pretty nasty glares.
I'll turn around and look at him, and I'll say, "So who's willing to step up and contribute?"
And they all look at you and they say, "We're willing to contribute." Another one says this. "We're willing to contribute, but also we're not willing to hurt each other."
You're hurting each other by doing nothing. Do you not
And
see?
then tearing us down when we bring you food. Is that not Hurting us? How productive is that?
And they all just kind of look at you and like he kind of like spits in your general direction and they kind of shuffle off.
I run after them and choke slam them. I'm just kidding.
Oh god.
Just kind of put my head in my hand, just like say to Endurance, I'm like, I mean, this fighting force seems like a joke. From what I'm used to, this is terrible.
Yeah, I can say the same. I wouldn't describe my people as soldiers, but we are warriors, but we respect each other and
Yes, and you have to have some sort of discipline and motivation for the cause. They don't seem like they're motivated,
you know.
I think
like
I
they're
can
whining.
give motivation. And then
Well,
I run
apparently
after
they don't
them.
do that. The what's terrible is they're supposedly gonna be warriors and they can't take a punch to the face.
Whoa. I give motivation. I
Yeah.
give permission? You give me permission to give motivation?
I mean, obviously punching them doesn't work.
No, a little more than that needs work. I think work.
Mm.
Permission?
If I was in charge, I would say so, but Drigoth says no. Apparently
That
he
is
knows
fine.
more.
Like an enemy of him. But I think maybe time will change them. They're very naive seeming now. And I was once naive and I didn't, when I first joined my circle, I didn't understand the ways of our people, but I learned and I learned in many different ways. So let's give them time and see what becomes of them. And I'm sure they'll see things that motivate them to quickly shift their tune.
And so it's starting to set in the realities of your fighting force situation, and you're starting to realize that it takes a little bit more than you think to bring many groups of people together to be a single unified force. So those are some of the challenges you may have to face in the upcoming time before the battles begin. So with that kind of weighing in your mind, on top of some of the other possible goals you have, you guys decide to kind of turn in for the night in your respective tents, just kind of unsure about the future and nervous, if anything. And that is where we will end for this evening.